so much. I'm so honored to serve on the boards of Mom for Liberty, and I am so privileged to serve each and every one of you in your fight to protect your children and to preserve our nation. Most of all, I'm blessed because I consider each of you to be a sister in the cause. You see, I'm first and foremost a mom, and like many of you, I was a domestic terrorist that helped flip our school board with the extreme overreach of 2020. Let's hear it for all of those folks. Tina Deskovich and I connected after my husband and I produced the documentary, Whose Children Are They?, that premiered in theaters nationwide. And we made that film because we wanted a tool to galvanize parents across the country. And when we were making that in pre-production during the COVID shutdown, Moms for Liberty was exactly the organization we were praying that would rise up. Each of you is an answer to that prayer, and I'm so grateful for you. We also made this movie because as a student of history, we realized this point. Most movements never reach critical mass. In fact, in our country's history, they kind of go like this. They take off immediately. Then they start to plateau, and one of two things happens. Either they taper off with no lasting change, or a handful of vigilant people push forward and it reaches critical mass and changes our country for the better. You see, right now, we're at that key inflection point for parental rights. The work is not finished. For instance, in my home state of Colorado, Tina helped host a town hall where we stopped a terrible bill that would have taken our children away from us if we did not agree to transition them. In blue and red states across the country right now, schools are still pushing ideological agendas and trying to circumvent parents. And why is that? Well, in our movie, we uncovered the fact that teachers' unions are still hard at work. Hard at work not supporting teachers, but instead forcing educators to push radical agendas. They're politicizing classrooms, and they are trying to shut parents out, who, by the way, the teachers' unions call you and I barriers. Barriers to their agenda, but we are ones that they are not going to get through. That's why I'm very happy to host this next panel, so we can gain clarity on the teachers' unions and what each of us can do to make sure that we can free good teachers to simply get back to teaching. We can make sure that parents guide and direct the education of their children, and we can create schools and a country where children flourish. And I do believe that we are the ones to take this movement to critical mass. Why is that? Because it's like Ronald Reagan said, you and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We will preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the final step into 1,000 years of darkness. How many of you know that on our watch, the darkness will not win? That's absolutely right. And that's why it's important, because together we will figure out and stand together to free our schools, to support our teachers, and to make sure that our children can just be children and are set up for their futures. Our watch will continue, and that is why now I want to ask that you welcome to the stage the panel that's going to help us be equipped on this. And I also want to say, God bless each of you, and thank you so much for this fight.